life is all about kind of the mixture of joy and suffering, and in that contrast, you could class that as a war. You know, it's always like
the yin and yang.
Yeah. You could class it as an equilibrium, but every time it shifts out of equilibrium, it becomes like a source of chaos. You know, and that chaos eventually has to come back into equilibrium, and that's what life is, that balance of joy and suffering.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is George Farmer. I'm really honored to have him here today. He will build this aquarium for us, but I thought that it would be more interesting to get to know George a little bit better and to show his way of thinking for you a little bit better. So we started this video with big words. And I promise you that by the end of the video, we're going to build an aquarium, and George is going to build an aquarium for you.
I'm just very grateful for this opportunity to hopefully connect the viewers at home with something that goes beyond how we aquascape, but actually connect them with why.
Okay, so welcome to Green Aqua. Welcome to the beautiful world of aquascaping. The Psychology of Aquascaping video, which we'll link in the description, where I'm talking about the background, the flow theory, and Mihai Csikszentmihalyi and all the other psychologist gurus of mine. And you just commented one short line there. I don't remember the whole comment, but I remember the end of it, and you start with the why.
Yeah. Although some people may consider aquascaping as just another aquarium hobby or just something to pass the time, actually, if you can incorporate into your daily life, you can incorporate into almost your spiritual life and a meditation practice even. But just the act of sitting in front of your aquarium and just being present with what you're witnessing right there at that present moment.
And that's the basis of the flow theory, actually, because it will disconnect you from everything and you can just concentrate on this thing. Before we start, you've got this Tropica Live t-shirt on. So
I'm just here today representing Tropica, going to use some Tropica plants, Tropica soil.
Thank you, Tropica, for the sponsorship here.
Yes, and yeah, I've been working with those guys, believe it or not, for 16 years.
Oh my God.
Okay,
so,
let's scape.
You've got the Tropica Aquarium soil.
Oh yeah, we use soil.
I know you want to use your hands to feel what's happening.
So if you remember when you're a child and you're playing in a sand pit, or playing on the beach, you know, or playing in your garden.
You want to touch everything.
This is it, yeah, tactile. We're sensory creatures. We have to have sensory input. You know, if we've got barriers on that, you know, like gloves, then you're limiting the joy, Balazs. If you imagine a human being, and a human being mainly consists of a skeleton. And around the skeleton you have the muscles, the flesh and the bones. The wood is the skeleton, okay? The plants are the muscles. And the
never thought of it like that.
And the water is the blood. This is like the main spinal cord of the skeleton. This is the largest piece, it's the most fundamental piece that all the other bones come off. So you have two considerations with hardscape. You have the actual selection of the materials and then how you're going to actually position them. The story in this is very simple. We're going to create a classic style nature aquarium reminiscent of, you know, early 2000s of Amano, but with the George Farmer twist, because we're going to use loads of crypts, we're going to use slow growing, easy plants, it's going to be easy to maintain, but give us a beautiful visual impact.
So is it safe to assume that this back to the roots, simple, let's have some enjoyment way of thinking is closer to you than the entertainment part of this hobby?
I've done some soul searching around that topic lately.
Did you?
Yeah, you know, and I think I've made a fairly successful career so far in aquascaping based on that kind of energy of wanting to entertain people and almost like a people-pleasing mentality. Almost want to be like the jester of the court and look at me everyone, I'm having fun, look at all this, you know. And actually, when you strip it right back, it comes from a sense of not feeling loved, you know, not having that unconditional...
Some frustration?
No, just strip it right back. It's all about not experiencing your own unconditional love for yourself and you're having to outsource that validation externally. But you realise actually the source of that pump, that dopamine, actually comes from an inauthentic source because it's not coming from yourself. It's not coming from true loved ones, you know. So actually, when I realised this fairly recently, in the last couple of years or so, I had a few kind of awakenings, if you like. I realised I've been outsourcing my energy and my happiness. So much of it has been spread so thin outward. I actually need to really focus on inward, focus on my home life, you know, my wife, my dogs, my children. Do you like Star Wars? Most people like Star Wars.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah. So if you think about Vader's the dark side, Yoda is the ultimate light, okay? Vader tries to control outer space, yeah? Yoda is the master of the inner space. And that's the fundamental difference between the good and the light.
Sure.
The dark and the light. Yeah.
Sure.
Outer versus inner. So the hardscape is complete. We're not going to use any rocks because we've got so many beautiful plants to use.
Okay, what do you want to start with?
That's a really good question. I normally start off with the foreground carpeting plants. So we have a beautiful slow-growing Marsilea crenata.
Do you want to wet the soil before you start?
In my view, the dry grains tend to grip better. I plant dry, some people plant wet. Let us know in the comments, are you a wet or dry kind of planter? When you're placing that plant in your tweezers, really look at what you're doing and then feel it, you know, use all your senses. You know, you've got 5 senses, let's use them all. And really like feel that, feel the resistance as it's going into the soil. Feel that beautiful kind of tension in the tweezers and the pincettes. Why do you love aquascaping, Balazs?
You're not limited to space and time.
All size
at
aquariums. It's so diverse, isn't it? You know, you can keep, I think at the moment, you know, Tropica have around 140, 150 available species of plant. You know, there's so many different varieties of fish available, hardscape materials. And what's your favourite kind of part of aquascaping?
Maintenance is equally important for me as the creative process. So I think that I changed a lot during the years.
Yeah, if people can switch that mindset for maintenance being a chore, you know, an unwanted thing that's necessary to achieve joy. If you can switch that mindset to actually maintenance is part of the process and it's part of the joy, and then you can enjoy your hobby at all times. You know, I think the pandemic really taught me a lot of new life skills, you know, where you can control stuff. So I had lots of flights cancelled, you know, work plans cancelled over the pandemic, and it really affected me, you know, my mental health and stuff. And then I realised that if I just accept things for how they are and stop trying to control everything outside of my control, then actually there's nothing to worry about.
And then we will get to the Marsilea hirsuta, which is the bigger
one. We're going to plant some crypts, beautiful crypts. My favourite kind of group of plants are the crypts.
This is parva.
This is parva, this is the smallest that's available from Tropica, all the way up to one of the biggest, which is the crispatula. So the idea is we create a natural transition. The more we do that, the more attention and the more care we give these beautiful plants, the more kind of reward that we get back. This
albida brown.
Yeah, this is a beautiful crypt. Another small crypt, the second smallest, available from Tropica. We don't want to be putting like plants in front of other plants that are going to block the view completely. But sometimes it's okay to intermittently add, you know, almost like a disturbance, you know, to add a little bit of extra je ne sais quoi. I often say, Balazs, we're not aiming for perfection here. We're not aiming for anything.
We just do it.
Because you're aiming, that you're losing the...
And then you're looking to the future, to the goal.
There is no aim. We're just enjoying the process. The main kind of concept to understand with Stoicism is that you have no control over anything but your own mind. So you just, as soon as you accepted that,
you need to let go of stuff you have no control of and just accept it.
Exactly.
And you need to do it with serenity.
Yeah. And we can use that in aquascaping because you might experience some challenges with your aquascape. You might get some terrible algae issues, a fish death, a fish disease, plant might be melting. You have no control over that thing that's just happened right there, but you have control over how you react to that or how you behave after that.
When people see some problems in their aquariums, they're going to say that I did this and that right, and they start enumerating what they did right, and they never think of what they did wrong because they need the self-reassurance.
What we can do is try to understand them in a more intuitive manner, and so we can just let ourselves go with our thinking mind and just kind of feel the aquascape, you know, and don't overanalyze it, and just kind of observe it and witness it day by day, and you can see these patterns, and then you'll kind of have an instinct of what to do, rather than just trying to overthink or blame or outsource that solution. You know, another thing aquascaping can hopefully teach us is patience. This is Cryptocoryne nurii Rose Maiden. Have you heard of this?
No, I never heard of it.
The leaves, you can just start to see maybe.
It's brownish or it's like...
Can you see there's actually some really interesting shapes? This is super rare at the moment.
Okay,
really
this is the only pot in Europe.
In the world.
In the world?
Here in the world. So, yeah, you've got exclusive at Green Aqua.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're lucky.
Cryptocoryne crispatula.
I'll talk about this while you prepare them. So this is the tallest crypt that will grow from Tropica. It has a very unique crinkled leaf. Eventually the leaves are going to reach the surface, and if allowed to, will actually start to drape across the surface. Schismatoglottis prietio.
Looks like a small Anubias, actually.
Very similar to Anubias, and the great thing is it can be planted in the soil or used as an epiphyte as well.
I don't think that aquariums and meditation can be brought together, though.
You don't?
No, because aquarium has a focus and meditation should not have a focus.
But what about if you're just consuming the aquarium with full awareness and consciousness?
But that's not meditation, is it?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're fully conscious, you're meditating. Anubias barteri mini coin. I'm quite a lazy aquascaper in that when I attach my epiphytes, I just like to wedge them into nooks and crannies and gaps in the wood. So that's what I'm going to try to do now. So this is Microsorum Trident. This is my favourite Microsorum at the moment.
Mine as well.
Yeah, it grows absolutely beautifully, but in my mind, it does need a bit more attention than most other Java ferns in my experience. It does appreciate more light, more CO2, more circulation.
So we've got this new moss here.
Fontinalis antipyretica.
Right.
Common name is willow moss. Amano used to grow it quite a lot on his early scapes from the 90s, I believe.
So that's the last one.
At this point in the video, hopefully the viewers may be thinking about their own aquascapes in a slightly different way. Actually just accept it for how it is in that moment in time and enjoy it. If it does need maintaining, then enjoy that. If it does need algae taken care of, then enjoy that and stop perceiving problems, because they aren't really problems, they're only opportunities.
Oh, thank you, George, so much for sharing your thoughts here and you know, bringing a little bit closer to the philosophy.
Thank you.
You're the greatest.
You are.
And thanks, guys, for staying here with us. Let us know in the comments what you think of George's incredible frame set of mind. I love that, okay? And we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheerio.